Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff, and joining me this evening, we've got the one, the only Jacob Terrell, and special announcement, guys, we have a new third chair joining us this evening, and hopefully more throughout the rest of the year, while Earl is not going to be with us. We have Christina. So if you guys watched the show a couple weeks ago, Christina was on with Jacob, did a fantastic job. And so welcome aboard. I know that you and I actually haven't really had too much of a chance to talk, but welcome aboard. We appreciate you joining us and coming on with Jacob a couple weeks ago. And I don't know if Jacob went over it with you a couple weeks ago, but how did you get to be United?
Well, I had said last time I was a fan from day 2. Yeah, day 2. I missed the inaugural match, but then after that I was hooked. Grew up playing soccer, so have always loved the sport, and having a professional team in town, I mean, you couldn't keep me away. So day 2 fan here, season ticket holder, involved with the club in other ways with the United in Our Abilities camp. And yeah, and Seth, I feel like I know you because of just watching the show. So even though we haven't really talked a whole lot one-on-one, I feel like I know you.
All right, very good. Yeah, hopefully Jacob's told you nothing but good things about us. So and to Josh's comment, dang, Earl got fired, so Somos Mas doesn't mess around. Earl is not technically fired. Earl is preparing for a baby. So
he's on baby sabbatical.
Yeah,
Earl fired himself.
There you go. Yeah, we didn't fire him. Earl fired himself. So there is a chance he may be popping in and out over the next few weeks. We're not entirely sure, but we've certainly expressed to Earl that anytime that he needs to take it and go be with his fiance and the new baby and his family and be there for them. Jacob, obviously we let Jacob do that when he was with his newborn and everything that him and his wife. Now, to be fair,
I didn't take time off, but it was all, to be fair, it was also my third.
Yeah. And
not my first. And so
I guess technically fourth.
So it was my third birth.
Yeah.
Since one's custody. But
you did podcast from the hospital.
I did, and while driving to, I believe, Allsubs to get energy drinks. Yeah. Hey,
so you set the bar here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Earl can reach that.
No. I wouldn't ask him to, though. I wouldn't ask him to.
And so, yeah, like I said, Christina is going to be joining us hopefully throughout the rest of the season. So, yeah, you guys get to know her. Please feel free to fire away with your questions, and we'll see if we can maybe test Christina a little bit. I know, Jacob, you said right before we started, you had a little bit of trivia.
I do. So I'm going to jump forward just a little bit. We had 2 players on the team of the week, Abdi Mohammed and Greg Hurst, both named to the team of the week. We've had 4 players. I just gave you 2. So can you name the 2 other players that made actual team of the week, not the bench?
Not Alex.
Not
Alex.
I want to say Marco.
Marco did make it once.
Yeah. Did Zico make it?
He has not.
No.
Mm-mm. Racking my brain. I feel like I should know this because I think it was it wasn't Talon, was it?
No, you guys are way overthinking this.
Okay. I know we haven't been great about reporting that this year.
Yeah, give it to us, Jacob. Who is it?
It was Daniel Bruce.
Okay.
I was gonna say not Bruce, even though he deserves it.
So Bruce and Marco have both made it once. Hurst and Abdi have actually made it 3 times each, which for Abdi is very impressive, seeing as he didn't start till May.
Yeah.
There have been 5 other names that made the bench. Care to guess?
Alex is one of them.
Alex is for sure one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Zico.
Jane, Zico hasn't even made the bench yet. As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
Some of his biggest performances were in the Open Cup, though. So as far as like goals and like flashiness. So keep that in mind. But
Yeah.
Alex is one.
I have to say Talon.
Talon was one.
Yep.
The other two, this will be a good hint for you guys. The other two are like complete opposite ends of the spectrum for me and my love for them.
Gloucester.
Gloucester's one of them. Down here.
And then
who's been up here that I've loved for freaking ever?
Juan Pablo Guzman.
Exactly.
we used to back in the day we used to call JPT, we called him JOG.
Yeah.
Jogging around.
Yep. Earl was pretty fond of that nickname. No, this guy doesn't jog.
Quilly.
He is all over the place. No.
Dayon.
No.
Okay.
Nanan Hosu. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think on any given week, if you pull out any individual from any team, there's going to be a number. I mean, you could probably put 3 or 4 guys from every team on the bench at some point.
Yeah.
So, and that to me is one of those things where it's hard to quantify what it takes to make team of the week.
Well, yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's one guy. And so it's really.
I love that it's so many different positions too, though. You know,
Yeah.
It's not like we only have a stellar defense or offense. Like it's a good mixture.
Yeah, that was one thing when I was going through that earlier, because when they made it, I was like, man, I feel like Abdi's made it like 5 times. And so he's made it 3 times on the first team and then 1 time on the bench. And then Hurst, I think, was 3 and 1. And then Alex is like 3 times on the bench. One of those times I think he got robbed. I can't remember what matches it was, but I felt like he should have been on the actual team of the week. But another
Legion?
Maybe it was one.
I know he had 7 saves against Legion.
Yeah,
so.
it must have been Legion. So a small trivia. We've had 15 goal scorers. Obviously, you know Hurst and Bruce. They're at the top with 9 and 5 respectively. Who is third on the team in goal scores? Now, this should be somewhat easy if you paid attention to United's post today. Which, judging by the looks on y'all's faces, you did not look at the post very closely. So Hurst has 9, Bruce has 5. The next person has 3. And I believe this is all competitions.
Abdi. No.
I was gonna guess no.
Are we going league play or all competitions?
I'm pretty sure this list from United's post is all competitions.
Maybe Maples then.
Correct.
That's who I was going to guess, and I thought
so. I saw you start to say it, and I was like, "No, say it."
I was so close.
And then we have 6 players that have scored 2. Reyes, Akale, Bailey, Mohammed, Hernandez, and Rivas have all scored 2, and then Harris, Micheletto, Hosu, Swartz, Herbert, and Flanagan have all scored 1. The fact that Micheletto is only on 1 kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
Well, I think that goes to the role.
What his assist number is, though. Yeah, what's his assist numbers? I wonder.
I'd have to look that up, but yeah,
3 in league play. I don't know about Open Cup off the top of my head.
I'm almost positive he had at least 1 against Real Monarchs or Real Salt Lake. I don't know, but yeah, one thing that I looked at both of those was just the sheer number of names on those lists. Just speaks to the depth, and so I wanted to highlight that yet again because I do think it's important, especially for this run that we're about to go into starting last Saturday.
I did see on Instagram that Talon's a dad now. He had a baby today.
Really?
Yep.
I missed that. Congrats.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He beat Earl to the punch.
Yeah.
But to your point about Marco, though, real quick, I think it's because of the role that he's playing. Like, I think we all thought he was going to score more coming into the season. But if you look at the role that he's playing, it's more that creator, that deep lying playmaker that we saw Sergio do really well with last year. But Marco's kind of been that guy this year. And so I think he's not, I don't think it's necessarily that he's not getting opportunities. I think it's just his role is not there for that.
Right. No, that's 100% true. If you had told me at the beginning of the season that Marco would play the majority of the games, we'd be in first place, but he would only have one goal, I would say that you're crazy. And yet here we are.
That is true. Well, we had a match on Saturday, and there was I think he was on the pitch. Did he do anything? I mean,
did anybody for El Paso do anything?
Let's see. Caused a PK, threw his arms up.
Yeah, was nowhere near Brucey where he probably should have been for the second goal. Yeah, they're a disaster right now, guys.
That they are. And yeah, obviously it's great news for us. You know, you go down to El Paso, pick up the season sweep with another 2-1 win. And this was a match that, I mean, and honestly, like, I think the biggest takeaway from this is El Paso's bad.
Why are they so bad? I don't understand it necessarily. They're not that much different of a team than they were last year. Everybody, including most of the people that were on the season preview show on this show, had them fairly high, or at least like comfortably in the playoffs. And yet they just suck.
I'm chalking it up to club culture. I don't know if you see their social media, the fans and what they post. I mean, they're talking about not re-signing for their season tickets, not going to any more games. So if they're feeling like that, I can only imagine how the players are feeling too. They don't have a drive to be, you know, a united, cohesive squad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Go ahead, Seth.
So yeah, and you know, when you get things like Armando Moreno spending more time on his Twitch account than what you normally see, I mean, you know, I can't help but think that they just don't look cohesive at all. They struggle.
I think I heard on with Andy and Adam, they said it was like 8 different lineups in 9 matches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this stat here, like I wrote about this prior to the match. Prior to them scoring in this match, they had gone 375 minutes without scoring. They hadn't scored at home since I think it was May, is what they said on the broadcast. And I hate Duke Keith, but at least he had a couple stats right. And I know people did not like the broadcast on Saturday, but I will say Duke and Leandro are better than the other color person they had last season. I'm all for female announcers. I think that's fantastic. I love Coach Heather on the mic. I think she's gotten a lot better in her appearances for the club, for us.
Mm-hmm.
But Leandro was by far better than the girl they had last year.
Me and Shadow Wolf, our buddy Shadow Wolf over on Twitter, had a conversation about that. He said he missed her, and I thought he was crazy. So
I think part of it is the accent from Leandro, and like I know he stumbled over some of the English, and I know he had some issues there. But I'll be honest, like some of the comments I saw were not exactly friendly towards him, and I think some of our fans gave him a lot more crap than they should have, if you ask me. But you know, I felt Duke was rather subdued for once. But yeah, I mean, you watch this match, and you know the goal here for El Paso came off of a turnover in the final third, and we've talked about that over the past several years. I mean, just a poor touch by Marco, Marco's best match at all.
He struggled I feel like from the whistle, he struggled.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that at all. I mean, Alex just absolutely rooted to the spot there. I mean, great shot by Navarez. You got to give him credit for that. But yeah, Marco kind of struggled a bit. But for the most part, I mean, we really kept them to what they wanted to do. They wanted to try to attack up the left with Armando, and it didn't work. Do you think
Wait. Did you just say that an attack led by Armando Moreno didn't work?
I did just say that.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, this whole El Paso season is a huge victory lap for me. between Amando and then the Seriously Loco people crying. I mean, it's just
soaking it all in. Yeah.
I mean, it's just
karma.
Exactly. It is fantastic.
You know what? Jerry did not come out of the woodwork after this one. So,
I don't even think Jerry's a fan anymore. I think even Jerry was like, you know what, guys, I'm out.
Well, and I think that their I guess their supporters group was
they did like a silent protest.
Yeah, they were
to start
protesting.
the match.
Yeah. So I put out a tweet after the match, because I know there are a lot of people who are questioning the attendance of the match, because I know the curse was loud. Our traveling fans were loud on the broadcast. I did legitimately ask El Paso what the attendance was, because I didn't announce it on the broadcast. And it wasn't until the next day they finally reported over on USL Championship. They said 5,570. Like, there's no way there are 5,500 people in that stadium. Now, I know it goes based off ticket sales, but I mean, that's not good.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess their season tickets, a lot of people were bought in for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So a big chunk of those numbers are probably those 2-year ticket holders that aren't going anymore, but paid for it.
Yeah, that to me is kind of weird too, about the whole 2-year season ticket thing. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I don't know. I don't know why you do that as a club, but looking back at this, I mean, obviously, Jacob, you kind of mentioned in our notes that, were we a little flat or something to that effect? And I talked to a couple different folks. The first half was really kind of dull. There really wasn't a lot. Yes, we controlled the vast majority of it, but it's, I don't know. It almost felt like we were waiting for something to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this match and the last home match were similar. Just low energy, not really, no urgency, just kind of like la-di-da, with the exception of Bruce. Bruce would have been my man of the match. I mean, even that moment where he went from box to box and chased down Mondo while the whole rest of the squad were just kind of jogging along. I mean, that was kind of the mentality of just kind of like, meh, we're here. They should have won by way more than 2-1.
Yeah, I think Josh said something earlier. Considering they were so bad, talking about El Paso, I was expecting at least 3 goals from us. Yeah, we had a couple chances. That's why I put it in the chat, is like it wasn't as blatantly lackluster as the last home match against Birmingham, but it just didn't, like, it definitely didn't feel like a rivalry match, which I guess it's kind of hard when a ton of new faces and then El Paso is the dredges of the league. But just, it could have easily been more. Like you just saw, Bruce was 1-on-1, and then there's another chance later where I think it's Hurst or Bruce is 1-on-1, and then he gets stopped.
Hurst.
And then Hosu has a chance and he gets stopped off the rebound. And so it could have easily been more than that. Comes down to finishing, which we've kind of touched base on all season, about it being slightly questionable at times. But at the end of the day, to go to El Paso, even if El Paso is terrible right now, and not even really try and come away with a 2-1 win, that could have been more, right at the start of this week with Las Vegas and Lou City coming to town, I'll take it. I'll take it every time. The last 2 efforts have kind of concerned me, but it could just be, the dog days of the summer here. And
here's that chance.
Yeah.
Just
So Hurst,
really poor shot by Hurst, and then
it was
it wasn't first touch.
Yeah, it wasn't the shot that I was upset with, because he was rushing to get to it. It was like Christina said, that first touch that really let him down. But at the end of the day, 3 points, sweeping El Paso. Can't complain too much. Like Christina said, Bruce was all over the place. The goal that he scores is fantastic. But, and I mentioned it in the notes, is Abdi the biggest signing that we've brought in this offseason / season because he's played, I don't know, at one time he had played like 9 games in a row for us. We talked about the team of the weeks earlier. He gets the assist on the Brucey goal. He led, I think they don't get assists on the PK, but he's the one that put the ball in that drew the PK that Hurst buries.
Mm-hmm.
This whole season, he's been incredible for us. Is there somebody else that we brought in that I'm not thinking about that has made a bigger impact? Maybe Talon and Herbert on the defensive side of the ball, but Aubrey playing both ways and producing like he is. I don't know. It's tough. That's why I wanted to ask you guys.
I'll let you go.
I think it's hard to say just him. I don't know. He's been amazing, but like you said, Herbert, he jumps out at me. So does Jesus. Jumps out at me. There's just, which I think speaks to why we're doing well. We're so deep. There's just so many options. But I definitely am loving Muhammad. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely had quite a few moments, and there was one that right there at Brucey's near goal there towards the end. That flick from Abdi was just incredible. That's something that you can't teach that, and that's just technical ability, that skill. That was absolutely incredible, and he's played lights out. I mean, they've all had moments. All the new signings have, and it's hard to disagree with Abdi. It really is. But to me, it's the duo at the back, Herbert and Maples. I think those two have done a tremendous job. 4th fewest goals in the league that they've allowed, they're at the back. And it's, again, we've talked about before, you throw out the Charleston match, throw out, the Tampa Bay match. And, we're last in the league. Or we're fewest goals allowed in the league. But, those two guys have had a phenomenal season. And I think, to me, it's that right there.
Yeah, no, and those are the 3 names that came to mind. Justin saying Flanagan surprises the heck out of me because we didn't see Flanagan for like 10 matches. He was non-existent, and then he cut his hair, and then all of a sudden he started playing.
Well, I think it's the Open Cup where he really started to shine.
Yeah. And he's been great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the things that AO can do on and off the ball, he's incredibly technical. And that's something that Quill has talked about, wanting guys who are technical, and being confident on the ball. And AO absolutely is. You look at some of the runs that he's been making. We see him play up high as in that 10 spot at times, only to drop back and take the ball and and make those runs towards the byline. And he's just AO is quick. He can play off the wing. What he does reminds me a lot of what Brucey did during 2019, 2020. So yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of good things to like about AO as well.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, we just named.
Josh is right. He adds to our speed.
Yeah, we just named 17 players, which is awesome.
Speaking of all these names, I mean, we're in first place in the West, 3-point lead, 2 matches in hand. Obviously, those 2 matches in hand are going to be pretty close to gone after this week. We have our 2. Sacramento does play on Saturday night, so we'll still have a match in hand on them. But do we need to bring in somebody else for the rest of the year?
Go ahead, Christina.
I don't think we do. I feel like, Kalen being back too, and being able to play that full 90. He played the full 90, right?
Yes.
Yeah, last week.
I think he did. Yeah. Just further solidifies the depth of our bench. I don't know if Dinladi will ever actually get some minutes. So maybe a replacement for Dinladi. But for the most part, I just feel like I said this the last time I was on the show. I feel like I don't find myself nervous what the lineup is going to be. I feel like whatever Quill puts out, I feel pretty confident in.
Yeah, I kind of agree to an extent. Like I do think because of Dunladi's injury proneness, maybe we do need to bring in someone else that can play off the wing or play that 10 spot. If he is going to continue to be injured, because let's be honest, you can't put Brucey and Hurst out there every single match for the full 90 or close to the full 90, which did kind of surprise me on Saturday that we saw Hurst and Brucey both start given this congestion this week. I figured you get one or the other and then have one of them sub in or have Jacobo come in for 25 30 minutes there. That way you have at least some sort of freshness going into Wednesday and then Saturday. That's the only question that I have is what went into that decision. And that too leads to the idea of maybe another forward.
It was my question that I posed to you guys in the group chat anyways on the agenda, and it's because I think we need somebody. I think maybe even two somebodies. Herbert, I don't know if you noticed, Herbert was not in the 18. And we're still super thin back there. Like we talk about our depth, and we do have a ton of depth in like the midfield / wings / wingers, and the right back and left back. But that middle, both in the striker position and then in the back, are fairly thin, especially with Ryden already being injured, Herbert not being in the 18 for whatever reason. And so I would feel a little bit better if we brought in a solid backup center back and then a number 9 that can at least stay healthy. And I think with as the season, I mean, Earl mentioned it last week, and I think I shut him down. And so Earl, if you're watching or listening, I apologize. I would like to see some depth there because of injuries. With the minutes that we're putting on Maples and Herbert and Hurst and Bruce, I don't want anything bad to happen. And so a little security
Gloucester
there.
being injured.
Yeah. I don't feel like the fullbacks, I feel fairly confident that we have enough depth there that we could sustain an injury, maybe even 2. Because Ao could drop back down there. We've got Astorga who has made a bench for the team of the week. We have why am I blanks on names?
I don't know where you're going. Dubois, maybe?
Yeah, Dubois and Muhammad both play out there. So we have a little bit of depth there. The center backs, like if 2 of our center backs get hurt, we're looking at Seymour and the one healthy center back there. And I love Will Seymour. He's been great for this team in the past. This year, he does not seem to be at his peak performance. And so the thought of that being our 2 center backs to start a game with nobody to replace either of them, I do not like. And so I'm not saying bring in somebody that's going to take Herbert or Maples or Ryden's spot. Just bring in a body, basically, that can be there if things go haywire. And same up top. That one's obviously a little harder to fill because of the need for that position basically everywhere. Everybody's looking for goal scorers, so it's kind of hard to make those moves midseason. But I mean, we've done it in the past. We brought Kevon back in the middle of the year. We brought was Romario a midseason signing? I feel like Romario was a midseason signing. One of the Jamaican strikers was at some point, I believe. And so there are ways that we can make those moves. It's just a matter of finding the right fit. And I trust in Itamar, Keenan, and then of course Coach Quill to gauge what we need and make those moves. But from an outside perspective, I would like to see a little more depth in those 2 positions. And maybe it's academy kids, or maybe somebody that's never played center back or that we haven't seen play center back can drop back there that's already on the team, like a Hosu or something like that. But just
He's
that
got the
part,
size for it.
he does. But I would hate to take his motor out of the midfield and put it back there and be like, hey, you've got to stay back here when he can do all kinds of other stuff. And so just something to keep an eye on. And I think if you brought in somebody that's in those two positions that are at least could compete for a starting spot, this little slump, I say slump because we still had 4 points through 2 matches, but this little slump that we're in as far as our intensity could get ratcheted back up because all of a sudden people are competing for a job now. Whereas they might feel a little complacent right now because they're either not another option or they've been getting their time because we don't have any, or because that's just kind of, we've set that minute rotation for everybody already. Whereas if you bring some new blood, then it can bring a little more fire to everybody and we can see that intensity level ramp back up. So I wouldn't mind seeing 1 or 2 new signings of names that could at least compete for a starting job.
To Justin's question real quick, we have so many chances to create it, but what's our conversion rate? 15.4% according to USLchampionship.com, which is good for 8th in the league. They have us level with Loudoun, Memphis, North Carolina, and Tampa Bay. All of those are actually slightly below us in terms of their conversion rate. North Carolina is sitting at 14.9. The others are all sitting at 15.3, but the league rounds down and lumps us all in at 8th. So we're not terrible on conversion rate compared to the rest of the league. Best in the league, obviously, Lou City at 22%. But there's a whole clump of folks in between 14 and 17%. So, it's not terrible. I mean, I know it feels bad watching it because you see all of these shots not go in.
And imagine if we had converted on our PKs early in the season,
right?
Too.
Yeah. That's definitely a thing as well. Fortunately, we now know who's going to be taking them. It'll either be Hurst or Maples. So, 2 guys we know that can make them now. But I think we're in a good spot for where we're at in the season. We're relatively healthy. Obviously, Gloucester getting stepped on 2 weeks ago was not ideal. We know that Abu Danladi, we don't know what's going on with him. And then, of course, the one season-long injury, Christian Nava. But, I mean, Sergio's back. Sergio seems to be doing better. He seemed to be better again on Saturday night. But here, while we've got a couple weeks where there are 3 matches in 3 days or 3 in 7 days, like we've got here in a couple weeks, so Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, which I absolutely hate. We've got 2 this week that we need to prepare for first. First up, obviously, tomorrow night, Las Vegas Lights at the Lab. Las Vegas is not the Ted Turner Club anymore. Joey Bats is bringing in some players, and Vegas is actually showing out a bit this year. They have not lost since April, I think we said it was. Jacob, you muted.
May 27th, I believe.
May 27th. There you go. May.
It's like a 9-game streak, right?
May 25th. Yeah. So they have not lost in quite a while. And that one loss was a 1-0 loss to Tampa Bay. So they're a team that's coming in and they're looking pretty dangerous at this point. Is this a team that we need to be worried about tomorrow night? What does the lineup look like? Since Hursty and Brucey both played basically a full 90 on Saturday, who starts up top?
I think it's probably Hurst.
Yeah, I'd go with Hurst.
I think you use Bruce as that super sub that we've talked about him being in the past and come in and just wreak havoc. Especially, I really like that tactic at home. Especially, I know the fans want to see Bruce, but something about him coming on as a sub and getting his moment of announcement for the crowd to all yell Bruce. And then him to come in with 30 minutes left after half their team is dog tired with the drink elevation. I love that tactic, and so I think you gotta start Hurst, bring Bruce off the bench. Maybe Jacobo and Nikki can get some run time because it's been a while since we've kind of seen them for an extended period of time, and go that way. But I also want to make sure Herbert's in the. He doesn't have to start, but I just want to make sure he's in the 18 so that we're not already down a center back here.
I follow him on Instagram, and he had a family,
Okay.
a death in the family. So it wasn't injury related. I do at least know that. I'm not a stalker, I swear.
It's okay. We've all done it. It's fine. Well,
So
I'm
hopefully he's back and rested, and because I feel like we really missed him.
yes. Looks like maintenance showed up to fix Seth leaking light. So we will carry on without him for a little bit. Have you watched much of Vegas?
I haven't. The only thing that I feel like I saw in passing was that they have some new loans, right? Some new MLS loans.
They did just get a couple new loans. I don't have them in front of me at the moment, but they did get a couple of new guys that figured a feature for him at least somewhat. They like Seth said earlier, they're making moves. They're not wanting to be the laughing stock anymore, like they have been in
They're
the
more
past.
serious.
100%. And so,
and their goalkeeper's been pretty solid, right? Like really hard to get by.
Yeah, I mean their whole team's been. I mean you don't go 9 straight with without a loss, without being fairly competent in all aspects of the game. But yeah, their keeper, who I'm trying to remember what his name is while I'm also looking up a bunch of other things. But there we go. That's what I was looking for. They've added 2 players. They added Osman Jabong and Grayson Dottie. I'm going to say Dottie because it looks like Duty, but I don't want to say Duty. And
Even
so
though you just said it.
And so yeah, they've brought in a couple of MLS players. They've definitely got talent kind of up and down the roster. I mean, one of our favorites, Solomon Asante, is over there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's not getting near the run that you might expect. Rosarina is their keeper that plays the most, anyways, and he's been really good. Sean Smart's been probably their best player. He got team of the week this week. He scored a couple goals. He's kind of all over the place. I mean, there's definitely names here that you look up and down and you're like, oh yeah, I recognize that guy. I recognize this. And then there's some names that you might not recognize if you just follow the USL, but they are solid players that have come from either down from MLS or from other leagues that have proven to be solid USL championship quality players, even if they might not be household names like Solomon Asante. Or they did have Fabian Garcia from San Antonio, but they released it. They mutually agreed to go their separate ways a couple weeks ago, which was kind of strange to me. But yeah, they definitely are not the laughing stock anymore. And that means one thing that I was looking at was watching that match against El Paso. As disrespectful as it may be, I think that might have been a trap game. And that might have been why we looked a little because it was kind of like, look, guys, we got freaking Vegas who's turned things up, and then Lou City on Saturday. Let's kind of take it easy on this road match against the bottom of the league. So I'm not saying that that's exactly how it went down, but that possibly could have been part of the lackluster performance against El Paso.
And we did talk about that a little bit last week. Is this a trap game? And some more names to throw there. So Charlie Adams, a guy that's done well at the USL level. Samake is another name. He scored against us a few weeks back. I really like what Joey Bats is doing in Las Vegas. And I look at what a lot of times when you see professional athletes buy in. I mean, Mbappe just bought 80% of the shares of a team in League Two. So I mean, you see guys, go in and buy in. You see, Marshawn Lynch buying into Oakland. You see other professional athletes buying into these teams now. And a lot of times it's an exercise in vanity. Saying, "Hey, I own this. I'm a part owner of this. I can throw it in my portfolio or whatever." Guys like Marshawn Lynch and now what Joey Batista is doing, they're making actual change. They're impacting the day-to-day operations of these clubs. I mean, there's no more cash traps. There's no more inflatable pools. There's no more mattresses. Las Vegas is I think, have they cut ties with LAFC now?
Yes.
I think that, yeah, I thought they have. They're becoming a serious team now. And we've seen how they did in the past with, some of the different talents that they had. And even without their three forwards, the three guys that are rostered as forwards for them, I think they have a combined 2 goals. Everything else is coming out of the midfield for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a team that can be dangerous, and they're I think right now they're well ahead of where all of us had them preseason. So this to me is honestly, I know you can say Lou City is dangerous. I think this is a dangerous match.
Mm-hmm. I think both this week are dangerous. Yeah,
I would agree, and specifically this one because it's before Lou City, could get, won't say full on trap game, but you could get caught looking ahead just a little bit because, as we'll talk about here in a little bit, I mean, Lou City is just incredible, especially on offense, and so you don't want to overlook Vegas. Vegas has not been a killer potent offense though, and when you look at the names on their attacking side of their roster, it's not, there's no names that really stick out as like, oh my gosh, he could be trouble. It's definitely been a team mentality, kind of like United. And so I don't think they have the firepower to come in and flat out beat us if our offense can live up to what it's kind of been doing, like that 2 goal per game range. I don't know if they've got 2 goals in them here at the lab, but it's still definitely a match that maybe at the beginning of the year you might have looked at it and been like, oh man, we've got El Paso, and then we have this random Vegas match in the middle, and then we go to Lou City. Like those 2 weekend matches are going to be huge as far as like standings and stuff like that. And now you look at it and it's like, well, El Paso was nothing, and we have to face this Vegas team that has won or hasn't lost in 9 straight matches. The dynamic definitely changed as the season went along as far as this run of the schedule.
So, all right, who are your players to watch for tomorrow night? Christina, we'll start with you.
Well, I was going to say the youngin. He's the one that scored against Colorado Springs. Sean Smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A defender who's scoring.
There you go, Jacob.
Probably Charlie Adams. He's
I like Charlie.
He's probably one of the best midfielders in the league. Just smart, knows where to be, knows how to distribute, can finish. We saw him multiple times with Loyal, kind of run the midfield against us, and so he's definitely up there. And then I really want Solomon to get some run just so we could boo him. That's really it.
That would be great. Yeah, both great picks. They really are. Anytime you've got young talent coming in, and then they, like Smart, he's going to be fun to watch. Charlie Adams, fun to watch. Jacob mentioned with Loyal. He's someone that I really liked watching him over the past couple of years. I mean, it's going to sound really, really boring, but I want to see what that defense does against us. We've already seen the last 3 clubs come in and basically just sit in that low block, and it's proven to be quite difficult for us to break down at times. So I want to see what they can do. I want to see how a Rosarena organizes them. I want to see how their communication works. I want to see if they can keep us out of the net. I'm not 100% convinced that they can, but I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic. They've conceded 29 goals already this year. We've scored 26. So it'll be an interesting battle there at the back to see what happens between that back line and our attack. So that's what I want to see.
You didn't say a player though, right?
Rosarena.
Okay.
Yeah. So more, it's just gonna be him and what he does with that back line. All right, score predictions.
I will let Christina go first.
I'm gonna go 2-1 to the good guys.
Okay.
I'm hoping we get at least 2 in the net.
Go ahead, Seth.
I think we get 2. I also think they get 2. Yeah, I think it's tough. This is a tough one. I know we went up to beat them at Cashman 2-1 a few weeks back. I like what they're doing. They've really gelled as a team. And when you go, 9 matches unbeaten, you've got some confidence going. My hope is that we have a decent crowd tomorrow night. I know it's a Wednesday night. Fortunately, school is still out, so if you've got kids, here's your chance to take them before school starts. Get out there. I would love to see 9+ on a Wednesday and make it loud, make it hard for Las Vegas. And I think if we can do it, I think that can be a difference. But right now, I'm going 2-2.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think we shut them out. Now, how many we put up is the question that I have, because our chances, like Justin was saying, chances created has been pretty good. Finishing, I think the conversion rate, when we talked about that earlier, I think it just feels like lately the conversion rate has been down.
Mhm.
But I think that kind of changes. I think we get to, I think we get our second 2-goal victory of the USL regular season, and we come away with a 2-0 victory. And I think it's kind of similar to this El Paso match, where it feels pretty easy. And that's nothing against Vegas. I'm just going off of the assumption that the last 2 matches have kind of been lackluster because of this stretch here. I think obviously you want to beat Lou City, but to me, the more important of these 2 matches is this one. And that mainly goes to, Vegas is in the West. They're 10 points back of us, and we have 3 matches in hand, so they're not necessarily a threat to jump us in the short term. But if you give them a result here and let them continue that winning streak and stuff, I think we just come out, we look a little crisper than we have. And then we can find the back of the net. I think Talon and whoever else is back there does their job. We count on a solid Tembakis stop or 2, and we come away with a pretty, I don't want to say easy, but non-nervous 2-0 win.
Okay. Well, there you have it. There's our predictions for tomorrow night against Las Vegas. Moving on, we do have one more match to talk about, and that is obviously the elephant in the room, Lou City. I saw a tweet over on X or Twitter or whatever the hell you want to call it that basically said they've been the best team in the. I think it's summarized as they've been the best club in the league since their existence. Pretty phenomenal. So like most number of points earned, most goals. It's pretty incredible what they've done in their existence. They have probably been the most consistent team that I've seen in this league. And they just picked up an extra player just a few days ago. Aiden McFadden transferred from Atlanta United over to Lou City.
He was already there. They just made it
permanent. Yeah.
Official.
Yeah, they made it official, made it permanent, but
they put a ring on it.
That they did. Aiden's a guy that I love. I love watching him. He's a lot of fun to watch. I've been watching him for a few years. But this Lou City team, top to bottom, I mean, they're good. They're very, very good. I don't think there's any other way to put it. I mean, I think with how every club is played so far, I think they're the hands down favorite to win the East. And I just, even here at the lab, I know we're unbeaten, but how do we look on Saturday? What do our odds look like?
They're a goal scoring machine. So it's definitely going to put our back line to the test. They had a friendly tonight, I think.
They were supposed to. I know it was in a weather delay last I saw.
Oh, okay. So I
They
thought,
did
well,
finish
that's
it.
good. Maybe they did.
Sorry.
They did play.
Yeah. They lost 4-0.
Well, that's good. Maybe tire them out.
I mean, 4-0 to a Bundesliga squad. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad they're coming to the lab this time. I can't remember. Last year we went to them, right? What's have they come to the lab before?
No, this will be their
so
first
this will be
time.
the first time. Okay. So hopefully, 12th man will be the fans and we really show out and help push our guys.
Yeah, of the 2 nights, I think Saturday night's going to be a significantly larger crowd. I think the whole idea of, best in the West versus best in the East is going to be a big draw. I know there's been some talk about the casual fan. What's going to draw the casual fan? Is this a match that draws the casual in, or is this a match that's going to be, you have to be a diehard follower of the club to really grasp what this is?
Josh, how could I forget? How could I forget last year? Why are they back here this year if they were here last year? I'm very confused. My mind is boggled. But
the schedule change, because last year it was home and away with 4 of them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I can't believe I forgot about that. But yeah, that was, and that right there, I don't think they were as good as they are this year, last year, but that definitely says we have a chance. Like it's not David versus Goliath by any means right now. When we saw Rhode Island go to Lou City to Lynn Family Stadium and pretty much annihilate them a month ago, I want to say. Let me see, June 22nd. So a little over a month ago.
That was the mask match. That's right.
Yeah, Oakland's beat them. Granted, that was in Oakland. And so yeah, they are a well-oiled machine. They have scored 52 goals on the season, which is basically double what we have scored. It's exactly double what we have scored. And they do have they have 2 more matches than we do, or 1 more match. Hold on. 2 more matches than us. So, I mean, but unless we score 13 goals in those 2 matches in hand that we have, they're going to still be above us in that aspect. And so it's definitely a tall task, but by no means is it an impossible task, especially playing at the lab.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't that be something if we managed to beat Las Vegas and then beat them, and then we would be tied in points, right? But have a game in hand.
Yes.
So like we're right there with them. We're neck and neck with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like we've had an easy run of it by any means.
Right.
I think it's been pretty diverse.
Yeah, especially our trips back and forth to the East Coast, which I still disagree with going back and forth those weeks. But yeah, obviously, East versus West this year. We were talking about it in our group chat with Harry. I mean, you look at our record versus the East. You look at Lou City's record versus West. They're 1-1-1 when they come West right now. Draw to Vegas, they beat El Paso, and then they lost to Oakland. So traveling West does not seem to suit them very well. So very low scoring affairs in all of those. Maybe the same thing happens here. Do you think that that's a problem that they have, much like we have going East?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be. And, not to take anything away from the other places that they've gone, but none of those places are quite the atmosphere as the lab, I would say. Oakland can get rowdy, but...
what are you talking about? Southwest University Park is the best place in the Western Conference.
Okay. Judging by the 3 people that were there, not in black and yellow on Saturday. Yeah, so it's it's definitely going to be a different experience for them, and they could struggle. It's also freaking Lou City, and so they could put up 4 on us. I don't know. It just depends on how things start. I think it really, of all the matches that we play, this one to me is definitely going to be the one that's like, okay, who scores first, or who at least like establishes a dominance first, and what happens after that, because it very well could be 2-0 in the first 15 minutes, really either way, depending on what things go.
Yeah.
I think if you told me that it was going to be 2-0 in 15 minutes, I would say Lou City's probably up, but we've proved over and over again, at least at home this year, that we fight and we fight and we fight. And so I don't think it's going to get out of hand at all, but it's going to be tough.
We can't ease into it. We can't start out lackluster. We got to start out just like full blast, just like we did against LAFC. Like it's got to be the same sort of just go. And they haven't done that the last 2 games. So I'm a little nervous about that.
They haven't. And I'm curious to see. I think if we come out flat against Vegas, I'm going to be even more concerned. Because I don't want to see that 3 matches in a row. Even if we come out slow against Las Vegas, though, these guys know. Like, they know this league. They know the names that are on this Lou City squad. A lot of them we've played in the past, whether it was for Lou City or not. Sam Gleedle, who was with Monterey Bay the last couple of years, is over there.
Yeah.
Kyle Adams is over there we saw him with San Diego Loyal. There's a ton of people that we're at least semi-familiar with. Plus, we played them last year, like Josh said. I believe we played them the year before, because I know we've been to. Well, and I guess last year we played them twice.
There.
Yeah. That was last year as well, and so. But they just come out. I mean, there's names up and down this. Dylan Mares from formerly El Paso is over there now. So I don't think there's going to be a surprise that they're really good, and so I think Coach will have them pretty fired up for that match, regardless of how Wednesday goes. They know what's coming, and they know they're going to have to be up for it, and so I think we'll be okay as far as like the effort standpoint there.
We did not play them in 2022, by the way, because it was 4 teams in 2022, then the other 4 teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we played them twice last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was last year that we went to Lou City, as well as them coming here. And so it just, first of all, can we just remember how much COVID just screwed everything up when it comes to this? But yeah, I think they're going to be up for it regardless of what happens Wednesday.
Yeah, this is going to definitely be a fun one on Saturday. I want to see the lab packed. I want to see I want to see the fans out there, and that's going to be a huge part in it. And I know Lou City is used to playing in front of large crowds.
Yeah.
However, they're not used to playing in front of hostile large crowds. So I think it's going to be different for them, because you look at how they go into these other atmospheres, and no one else in the East draws anywhere close to what we do or what they do. So it's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they adapt. And sorry, I know you guys saw me had to go talk to the maintenance guy again, but do we change anything with our lineup on Saturday? Do we maybe go, sit back a little bit, or do we just keep playing the same way we always do?
There's no way we change how Quill plays.
No.
The only thing I could see, we saw a 3 at the back. Birmingham was the 3 at the back. I could see that to where you have the ability to drop 5 in the back with the wing backs if need be, but the mindset I think is still going to be attack. And then if we get pinned back, we might want those 5 players back there to try to prevent them. But I just don't think that we change too much of what's going on.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, who are we watching on Saturday? Who do we need to keep an eye on?
I'm excited for Gleedle to come play at the lab. I've been wanting him to come play for us at the lab.
I think a lot of folks have.
Hometown guy, just to see what he's missing out on. So just excited for that. But again, I go to the young guys that they have. I think they have a good mixture of young guys that came up from the academy, and then they're more seasoned players who have been with them for a long time. So I lean towards their younger guys.
Well, we haven't said it.
We have not
earlier, but continue.
I can't think of names off the top of my head, but I know that there's one that was named like the young player to watch that's been scoring every game.
They've got Ray Serrano and then Elijah Widener.
That one, yeah, Elijah. Yeah,
younger brother of Joshua Winder.
Yeah.
Both of those are definitely names to keep an eye on. I'm going to take us on a quick side quest here, because I got to wondering what the attendance looked like for this year, because I hadn't really seen the numbers too much. So average attendance right now, you have the normal names at the top. We're at the top. Lou City's right behind us. Right behind Lou City, Sacramento. And then right behind Sacramento is Indy. None of those really surprise me. Do you guys want to guess who's fifth in attendance with a 7,533 person average per match?
Oakland?
I'm trying to think.
No, it is a Western Conference team.
I guess it's Sacramento.
No,
they're fourth.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, they're up there already.
Mm-hmm. And is it Phoenix?
No, it's freaking Colorado.
Oh, well,
good.
I mean, they've got the nice stadium.
Yeah. And actually, looking at last year's attendance, they've actually gone down this year. And so last year they were averaging 7,700. And so I didn't pay attention to that well enough last year.
What's their stadium capacity? Does it say on there?
8,000 is what it says on here.
Okay.
And so, like, they're getting damn near sellouts almost every match. And so kudos to Colorado Springs.
Yeah, again, another club that's made changes. They're doing better on the pitch, they're doing better off the pitch. Look what a new stadium can do. Shh. God. I tell you real quick, I got into it with someone on Facebook today.
You got into an argument online?
I got into it with someone on Facebook because they were, they were going on. They said something about, I don't remember what it says, but I said it's the stadium is privately funded. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, no, it's not.
Right.
I said, yeah, it is. Well, what about the $8 million from the state? I said, well, that's infrastructure. That's not the stadium. They're two completely different things. You can't put them one and the same. That's not how that works. Like, how do you think the rest of the state and city works?
Between those people and the people are like, what about the turtles? Is it the turtles or the beavers? There's some sort of animal that they were up in arms about that we were gonna
I missed the animal
wreak havoc. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. We're basically turning a parking lot into a stadium. Oh my gosh.
Right.
People are dumb.
But where will the balloons go?
Same place they always do.
The noise, the traffic.
So I have to mention a name here because you guys have mentioned several names. I don't think I heard Wilson Harris's name when you guys were talking. Now, I was also like on my little side quest to find the attendance numbers, but Wilson Harris has been absolutely incredible this season. He was very good last year anyways. But he comes in basically every offensive stat for that team, he leads them in. He's been absolutely incredible. He started off on fire. He's slowed down since. Markakis has kind of pulled away as far as like the Golden Boot race, but Harris is still the engine that drives that attacking machine. And so he is obviously somebody that, like we talked about with Vegas, like we mentioned a bunch of names, but none of them were really on their forward line. And I said none of them were like, oh, this guy can beat us. Wilson Harris can beat us pretty much single-handedly if we let him. And so a ton of attention is going to have to be paid to him, which could open it up for guys like Aiden McFadden on the wing. Weiner coming up the middle. Serrano, if he's out there. They also have Brian Ownby, who suffered a season-ending injury, unfortunately. Gleedle is up there, can attack. And so it all kind of starts with Harris. And then when he draws that attention, it just opens up so much room for all these other places, all these other people that if Wilson Harris wasn't on the team, we'd be keying in on Sam Gleedle and Elijah Widener and
Amadou Dia and Niall McCabe.
Yeah, all these other names that if you follow USL whatsoever, you're probably going to recognize at least 10 of them. And so it all kind of starts with him. And so I think we have the horses to kind of go mano a mano with him most of the time, to where we don't have to take all the attention to him and leave huge gaps. But that's not to say that he couldn't have a couple moments of brilliance and either beat his man one-on-one and get a goal, or beat his man and then create space for somebody else. So he's definitely the name. I mean, it's like the cherry pickiest of names that you could do, but when it comes to somebody like Wilson Harris, who I think is up there, in my opinion, I think I have him as MVP over even Markakis, even though there's like a 6-goal difference there in the Golden Boot. Harris just kind of does everything really freaking well and creates so much for that offense that, as I mentioned, has double the amount of goals that we have so far in the season. And so I gotta go with him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, go up and down the roster, throw a name at a dartboard. There's so many guys to look at. I like Niall McCabe. I think he had a pretty good showing in the Open Cup this year. He's been with the City for a few years now. A guy out of the midfield that can create. He's a shot taker. You can't pick just one off this roster. They're good top to bottom, and this will by far be the hardest match of the season until we get to the playoffs. So could this be a potential playoff final?
I mean,
that would be something.
Typically, the best teams in both conferences don't make it, but I think Lou City is good enough that they could definitely buck that trend. And I think the West is weird enough that we could buck that trend. And so definitely think that we could see it, which in a make-believe world where where I tell you right now that we're going to see this team again in the final. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm curious. Would you rather win this one and have a chance to get the championship game here at the Lab? Or do you think it's too hard to beat a team twice and risk losing this one and then having to go over there, but think we might have a better chance of winning? You guys took too long. The right answer is to have the game here at the Lab. But
my brain was thinking, well, but we travel really well, and that would be pretty cool to like have a huge showing there.
Would be.
And win it in their home. That would be pretty cool. I told my wife
already, I was like, hey, we're doing really good this year. Like, there's a chance we could go to a final. And basically what I'm saying is if we go to a final, I'm going. I will.
We'll do what we can to get press passes. Yeah.
I will do I'll do what I can to take you guys with me, but just know that I'm going. And then I looked at the schedule, and I don't like that our anniversary is the 28th of November, because I'm pretty sure the championship game is like the 21st, or not the 21st, but what would that be? 16th, something like that. And so I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, definitely, if we do end up going on the road, I could think of worse places to go than there, especially with that stadium.
Mm-hmm. And win. I mean, in the scenario you proposed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Watch, we're going to end up having to go to Loudon. That'd be an awful trip.
It'd be very weird.
Yeah, that would be awful.
We would outnumber them, I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
Even in the final.
By the way, if you go to the 2024 season structure at the bottom of the standings and click the link that says see more, it goes to last year's.
Oh,
Cool.
lovely.
I love the USL Championship website.
It's fantastic.
I just love it. All right, score predictions for Saturday.
2-1.
Who?
I don't know.
Flip the coin. I'm leaning towards, as much as I really want to beat them, I'm leaning towards it being just a grind and it being 2-2.
This is a tough one. They're a tough team. They're going to be really hard to beat, even at the Lab. I want to say I like our chances, but this is tough. I hate to do this, but I think we lose the unbeaten run.
Soulless robot Seth.
2-0 Lou City on Saturday.
2
I want to
nil
be.
even.
I want to be wrong.
So here's the deal, guys. One, Lou City doesn't have a Jerry to come back and put clown music over this thing.
Mhm.
Two, if I say something like 2-0 Lou City and I'm right, whoop-de-doo, right? They're clearly the better team, according to the paper. So that's boring to me. That's boring. 2-2, if you get it right, sure, people will clap
Very
for a minute,
boring.
but it's like, okay, you predicted a draw. Okay. So here's the deal, guys. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to predict a win. And I think it could be ridiculous. So I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say 4-3 United.
Wow. Okay.
These are two offenses. Like, obviously, we've talked about the Lou City offense. Our offense has created the chances. I think they're going to know, like, hey, if we're going to win this game, we got to finish these chances. We saw it against RSL. We put 4 on them. That was arguably the best team that we've played this year, not named LAFC. It's the best team that's been at the Lab for sure. And we were able to hang 4 on them on a Wednesday with matches on either side of it. So I think we can come in and our offense can step up a little bit. And I think I'll even go one step further. I think we're losing at one point in the second half, and we come back to win 4-3. Now, if I'm wrong, guess what, guys? Who cares? It was crazy, right? But if I'm right,
That would be something. And like Justin says, it's superhero night, so
Who's your
crazier
superhero,
things could
Jacob?
happen.
are we asking the team or my favorite superhero? In
Who,
general?
who would be your superhero on superhero night?
Oh man, it's gonna be Brucey.
Yep, Brucey
Gotta
all the
be
way.
It's gotta be Brucey. He's gonna,
We signed Devin Sandoval at halftime. He comes out, scores the game winner.
that too. And he has his dreads back somehow.
Yes,
It's just
I saw him after the Legion game the other night.
Yeah.
He was talking to David for a while. So
nice.
yeah, good to see Devin. So, all right.
Well,
So-
I feel like even though we're top in the West, we still don't really, there's not a whole lot of singing our praises. I don't feel like. Maybe
No.
I'm wrong. So it would feel real nice to win like that. And I could see our guys wanting to prove a point. Like,
Well, see, and that's something we've talked about on the show before. I'm sure you've heard us talk about it. Like, you listen to the USL show and some of these other podcasts. They don't stay up. They don't watch the West. They really don't pay attention. They don't report on us. They don't, Now, if we stand out, if we go and we beat like Legion or something, like you'll hear something about it. But they don't pay attention at all. You really don't see the USL media. And we try to talk, knowledgeably about the other conferences, about the other conference and the other teams, and we pay attention to what we do. We cover the Eastern Conference every single but we do pay attention. We talk about them, like we've been following Rhode Island all season long, So but yeah, no, I agree with you. The Western Conference and New Mexico in particular, we don't get coverage from the league. I mean, now Nick Murray does a great job, but
yeah. And I mean, John Morrissey will, do his tactical things, and
he does that for
but
literally
like
every match, though.
Yeah, yeah. But the USL show, is that what it's called?
Mhm.
With
Taylor and them, yeah.
I don't remember the last time they ever tried to even predict a New Mexico game. Like it's never one of the matchups that they ever talk about.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw them do it, they were all wrong. So because they picked against us. But yeah, I don't think we need to try to get Kaylor on, or maybe see if we can get on. I don't know. I highly doubt they'd want us to come on there. I mean, we try to work with other shows. We try to work with other groups, and fortunately, Matt and the guys at Raising Anchor were kind enough to come on with us this year, and we've opened the door to Phoenix Rising supporters. We've done it with El Paso to Eighth Notch. Eighth Notch, Phil hates us apparently. So
to be fair, Phil's I don't think part of Eighth Notch.
Or seriously loco. Yeah, seriously loco. I apologize. But yeah, I mean, because Phil's on a USL show. But yeah, no, they don't. I mean, so Phil's probably the only one, but even then, he won't talk about New Mexico United. But yeah, I don't know. We just need to keep growing, and then we'll just take over. We'll become the USL show. Hi.
Is it hi?
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got our predictions for both Wednesday and Saturday. We've talked about the win against El Paso. We've talked about our predictions and who to watch and all that kind of stuff for this week. Jacob, why don't you go ahead and get us out of here?
Yeah, guys.
One thing I want to mention.
Yes.
I want to shout out on Friday night the U.S. Women's Deaf National Team is here to play a friendly against the Lady Lobos.
Oh, interesting.
It's free, and afterwards they're going to do a signing, and I think they're putting on a special clinic too on Saturday. But I don't know if you probably don't know, but the U.S. Women's Deaf National Team is like 35-0-1. They are. Yes, they are a force to be reckoned with. Super fun to watch them. They've won 3 World Cups. They've won gold medals. So anybody, who loves soccer, I think that's going to be a really fun match to go support them.
Oh, that's
Lady Lobos.
Make sure we have a link for that. We'll put it out on our socials as well. That's very cool. Yeah. And quickly, have either of you been watching the Olympics?
Yes.
Okay. I was just curious.
I want to, but work gets in the way. I get text updates from my mom and sister.
So it's really weird because like when I was growing up, the Olympics, I love the Olympics. Like I would stay up late to try to watch all the events. And now I have them all at the tip of my finger on demand if I didn't watch them live. Or if they are on live and they're on at like 10 o'clock, I can literally just go to the app, the Peacock app, and watch it. And yet I found myself watching less and less Olympics as the years have gone on. I have been better about this year, but also, I mean, as you can see, I have my hands full. So time-wise, sometimes I have the time, sometimes I don't. So I have to be pretty... Me and my wife have gotten a habit of putting the kids to bed and then watching a couple obscure events just for fun. So we watched some water polo, we watched some handball. We watched the canoeing final slalom yesterday.
That's cool, isn't it?
That was nuts. And so yeah, I'm keeping up with it and then watching. Thank you. Yes, you can just keep handing me stuff. Oh, you want it back? Okay, there you go. And
have you watched the rugby sevens?
I watched a little bit of it, but I haven't had a chance to watch all of it.
I've seen highlights of that. That's been fun.
Yeah,
I saw the women's got bronze and upset Australia. That was pretty cool. And so yeah. From what I've seen, it's been a pretty entertaining one. Like the beach volleyball has the Eiffel Tower in the background. It's been beautiful. The equestrian events are at something that I can't think of the name of anymore. The beautiful palace.
Yeah,
Versailles.
Versailles.
Yeah.
The cross country, that was really cool. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, and then surfing.
I like watching triathlons too, and I think it's still unknown if they're going to get to actually race tomorrow.
Yeah,
because of the E. coli.
Yeah, crip walking horses. Yes. Justin.
Well, see, they did a thing though, a month or 2 ago with the river where they got whatever it was fixed or something. So I think they're doing it, but
Well,
Yeah,
they
so
postponed it like the last 3 days.
oh, well, I don't know.
Bless you.
Bless you.
You good?
But yeah, I've been watching it a bit more this year. I normally don't care, but because I can put it on the background while I work. And so like I saw the women's Olympic soccer team play like 3 times the other day because NBC showed it 3 times. I watched the men's soccer. I watched the rugby sevens. That's a lot of fun. The canoeing, like it's been really interesting. Some of the different things that they've got going on this year. Jacob, did you know there's a golf tournament next week? There's Olympic golfing. I'm like, okay, sure. Scotty Scheffler and there's Xander Schauffele and a whole bunch. I'm gonna watch that all day long.
Yep. There's Olympic golf. There's 3-on-3 basketball. There's breakdancing. There's breakdancing. As an Olympic sport.
I didn't know that. I was very surprised that there was a 3-on-3 basketball tournament.
Yeah, Jimmer Fredette.
Really?
Yeah. They lost today, but yeah.
Did they? Okay, I didn't watch it. I saw it on the schedule. I was like, what? That's odd.
But I mean, that could be a whole separate podcast if we really want to go down that road. So I'm gonna to break us off here and get us out of here.
Yep.
Everybody in the chat, Justin, Josh, Jane was in there earlier. Earl popped in for a brief 2 seconds. Notably, the San Antonio guys were not here, which I don't blame them. They're probably in their underwear eating tubs of ice cream because of the season that they're having. Maggie,
Team Jacob is going to lose all support at this point.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I would be if I was having their season, I would be doing the same thing right now. And so I don't blame them for not being here. I would normally be thanking Christina, but instead of in the chat, Christina, thank you for being here, stepping in, taking Earl's place.
Thanks for having me, guys.
When you can, anyways. And I look forward to having you on multiple times from here on out. And then, of course, I probably don't do this enough, but I'll thank Seth too, since I'm in the mood tonight for the dedication that he's shown for the last 5 years now. It's been a fun ride, and so we've gone through a few different iterations. We've had some guests and some people in the chair and people missing when I was in the academy, but thank everybody for sticking with us. And Maggie, why are you grabbing everything? I know there's a lot of stuff here, but you don't have to grab everything. Okay.
It's almost like you've never had a kid before.
No, but she's gotten to this phase
she's
now.
looking at you like, I what, Dad?
She got to this phase now where she's like all over the place, and so it's the fun phase, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You have a good time, huh?
Yeah. Hi.
You waving? Are you pointing? Yeah. But anyways, I got distracted. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back next Tuesday. We'll have 2 matches to break down. We'll have an Indy match to preview going out to Indy. I saw that we got a block of tickets out there. I'm very curious to see how many supporters we get to go to that match. After the last 2 away matches, LAFC and now El Paso have kind of felt like home matches with as many people as were there for us. And so we'll see how that goes. We'll preview it, and we'll see. Maybe Earl pops in, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. We'll see what Earl's schedule is. But if you get a chance to reach out to Earl, tell him he's going to be a good dad because he's worried, but I know he will be. Mainly because he's a giant kid, much like myself when it comes to kids. I'm holding you. You're being held. Oh, you want to be held the other way? Okay, fine. And so, we'll see him around. And yeah, just thank you guys so much. I'm going to get this little one to bed. Are you going to say bye? Bye. So with that, until next week, guys, somos unidos.